What a stunningly beautiful day, except for the railroad. Well, if you remember my last installment, I was ecstatic because the train finally ran. Then we had the rain. I come back out here and nothing worked. And I had a short. So what I did is I went and I checked the center rail over the entire length of the track. And what I found were there were some of the pins were just not making contact with the next rail. So this rail will be live, this rail will be dead. Then it'll be live, live, dead, all the way along. So I fixed all that, crimped everything. Everything's live now. And I mean everything's live. All of the rails are now the same circuit. So what happened between 2 days ago and today? Well, the rain. So I'm assuming that, well, the little cardboard is shorting out all the way across the entire length. Now that I know I have continuity all the way through the center rail, and now that I know that all of the outer rails are working fine, they're all connected. Everything is one giant short right now. So what am I going to do? Well, the next 5 days are supposed to be sunny and warm and breezy. And if that doesn't dry this out, nothing will. So I'm going to try this in a few days. Also, another thing I did is I actually went in here and I said, what the heck? And I moved this out like I said I was going to do by about a ½ inch. And I also noticed I put these on the outside of the wall there. So there are no more bolts for the train to slam into. So the train actually makes it through perfectly. This is now, you see, quite a bit further out, about an inch further from this. No problem going through there, no problem going in and out. So that all works now, except I have a massive short. So I guess we wait for it to dry out and see what happens. And if not, I'm at a point now where I am seriously considering scrapping all this and going to G-gauge, where I won't have any of these problems. Of course, it'll be a massive investment, but at least I'll have a working set. It won't be Lionel. I was doing Lionel mainly for my uncle, who got me into model railroading because he was a big Lionel guy. And I wanted to use the buildings that he had created that were all O-gauge to make the little city out there. So a little tribute to my uncle. But unless my uncle shines down upon me from heaven, I'm afraid I'm going to have to find a different way to make this railroad work. So we will see in a few days. Well, everything's dried out and everything's shorted out. Interestingly, if I take this off and I put it on the center rail over here, it says that it's connected, but I get no beep. So it's got to be the ties. So wait for the silicone strips to come in and then get to work. I think I finally found a solution. After 3 days, the track is still shorting out, even though it's been completely dry and sunny. So I've given up hope on those cardboard ties. And the silicone implants that I was expecting are sort of delayed in transit in customs from China. So those won't be here for another month. And I could sit around twiddling my thumbs for that amount of time, but I decided to take things into my own hands. And this time, here's what I've done. I've created an entirely new replacement tie, And this one, let's see if I can focus here. Hello, there we go. Well, it's not focusing, I don't know why. But anyway, there's the tie. And, you know, it's PLA, it's all plastic, so there's gonna be no shorts in it at all. I've got the little screw holes in there, exactly where the original screw holes were for the original ties. So I can just replace the screws that were in there. And all I gotta do is just slide these along the track. So what I'm gonna have to do is unhook the clamps on all of these rails all the way along, and then have a bunch of these ready to go and just slide them in place right down the line. And they hold pretty well. They slide in good, and they don't have a lot of wiggle room in it. So I think that is going to work out quite nicely. So I'm going to get started on that. And we'll see how the process goes. It's going to be a little tricky. I think what I'll have to do is start at the turn out of the station, detach all that, and then I'm going to have to take each piece of track apart. I think I might be able to leave it together and slide this along the rails, even along curves, but I'm not sure. But if I can slide it along curves, that would be really, really good. So we'll see, but I'm gonna have to print a lot of these. So I had to order another spool of filament because I'm gonna need about, 500 of those. So off we go back to the 3D printer and start cranking these things out. Here's the beginning of the new ties. And they're a little bit loose, but I think that's good because when I bend them and force them into place and screw them down, they tighten right up. So it gives me enough play so I can easily slide them in place. And what I'm doing is, I took this out, obviously, and then as I remove each tie here, I slide the new tie on, then I remove the next one, I slide this one down, put another one on, take this one out, slide that one down, put another one on. That way all the track stays together in place. So, and this took me about maybe 10 minutes to do. So I don't think it's going to be that difficult. I just use the screwdriver to pry up the clips, and this thing drops off, and then I just slide the other one in, the new one in, and keep going. So what I've done is I have ordered online 600 of these that I designed. And the reason I did that is obviously I can't print them all on the 3D printer. It took 2 days to print 2 sets of 18. So it would take me over a month to print all the ties I need. And I also went through an entire spool, a 1 kilogram spool of black PLA doing that. So I figured if I farm it out to somebody else, it would work out better. And I found a site called Cloudcraft, which I'll link to in the description. And Cloudcraft, basically, they find the best price on what you want. And what I found is a type of filament that I wasn't familiar with, ASA. And ASA filament is for outdoor use. It's UV protected, and so those should last a long time. So I got them in black, 600 of them, and those should be coming in about a week. And when those come in, then I'll just have at the entire course here. Right now I'm just doing this turn with these to make sure it works. Now obviously if I were smart, I would have done this first before I ordered 600 of them, but I'm very impulsive that way. So I ordered 600 before I tested this out, just on a whim and a prayer that it would work. Maybe I could have tightened these up a little bit more, but I think the looseness is going to be to my benefit, especially going around the curves, and I think it'll work out just fine. So let me continue with this, and finish up this circle and make sure everything holds together well, and we should be good to go for this section. All right, it's not going too bad. You know, I am screwing them down every so often just to try to keep them in place. But I found the easiest thing to do, makes it go really quick, is I just take all the old ties off first, leaving the 3 rails free, and then I just put the rails into these. You know, I take these rails, plug them into here, and then slide on the new ties. And that makes it really simple. I just pull out a section, take the ties off, put the rails in, slide the ties on. So this should be done in a couple minutes. Of course, famous last words. All right, that was a bit of a challenge. As you might expect, lots of stuff started falling apart once I got things basically in position. I do like the fact that these are a little bit looser than the other ones, because it allowed me a little flexibility of how to shape this. So that works out. And once I have everything locked down and in place, the track is really sturdy, just like the other ties. So even though it's loose at the start, this isn't going anywhere. So that's going to work out just fine, I think. I will never have a problem with shorts on that again. Now, as I said, the ASA plastic that I'm getting in is going to be a lot more durable than the PLA, but I'm thinking the PLA is going to hold up pretty well as well, because I'm having to use double the amount of screws in the ties because of the nature of the plastic. I don't want the plastic to twist at all. So I'm securing it down. I'm pulling it a little bit this way to tighten it up, then securing it down with 2 screws. Because of that, I had to basically buy out all the screws in my hardware store. Got number 8 by 3/4 stainless steel screws, and they had 5 boxes, and that's 1/3 of what I'm going to need to finish this job. So hopefully they'll get their stock replenished pretty soon, and I'll buy out the rest of it. Not cheap, but the heck, it's going to work. Yeah, and you know, notice these, they're gray on top because I ran out of black plastic as I was printing this batch right when it got near the end, so I had to substitute gray. But what the heck, 2-tone ties, that's what we love around here. Okay, so that's going to wrap it up until the new ties come in, and once they're shipped to me next week, then I'll be able to start. I'll redo all the station, and then around here, and then the straight runs should be easy peasy as usual, and then everything else. So just playing the waiting game now.